say the desert plays tricks on you after midnight. Veteran trucker Hank Griggs had laughed that off plenty of times. In his 22 years on the road, Hank had seen his share of mirages and weirdos, but nothing he couldn't explain. The route from El Paso to Phoenix was his regular, flat, dry, and uneventful. His semi, Old Bessie, was humming like a beast under the orange glow of the dashboard. He passed mile marker 66 like he always did at 2:43 a.m. sharp. It had become a personal checkpoint, something reassuring. But this night, something hung heavy in the air, like the desert had forgotten to breathe. The CB radio crackled more than usual. Static hissed like whispers trying to form words. He fiddled with the knob, thinking maybe it was just the elevation or an approaching storm. No one answered his check-ins. That silence was more unsettling than he admitted. Still, Hank chuckled to himself and leaned back. "It's just the desert being the desert," he muttered. But as he glanced at the passenger seat, he noticed something strange. A damp patch on the leather, as if someone had just been sitting there. 10 miles later, Hank blinked in disbelief. Mile marker 66 stood ahead again. He slowed down, his headlights hitting the reflective numbers squarely. 66. "That's not right," he whispered. He knew the route like the back of his hand. There was no loop, no detour, no parallel road that could explain this. He grabbed the CB mic. "Breaker 19, this is Blue Ranger. Anyone out there? Got a bit of a head-scratcher here. Over." Silence. Then, faintly through the static. "Blue Ranger, this is Blue Ranger. Come in." The voice was distorted, slurred, like someone underwater, or worse, mimicking him. Hank's knuckles turned white on the steering wheel. "Who the hell?" he began, but the signal cut. The desert swallowed the sound. He turned his headlights off for a moment, just to see if maybe it was some illusion. Darkness engulfed him. In that brief moment, the dashboard flickered. When he turned the lights back on, the desert looked different. Too quiet. No wind, no insects. Like the road had been cut out of time. Deciding to turn around, Hank pulled onto the dirt shoulder and made a slow, wide U-turn. The truck's beam scanned the vast emptiness. No cars, no buildings, just the yawning desert. He rumbled back in the opposite direction, counting the miles. But every few minutes, his gut tightened. There it was again. Mile marker 66. Hank slammed the brakes. Dust rose around him in a thick cloud. "No way," he muttered. He threw the truck into reverse, then forward again. Still, the same sign. Marker 66, like he was stuck in some twisted desert Ouroboros. The fuel gauge dipped slightly. Not low, but dropping faster than it should. Every sound, the tires on gravel, the engine's growl, sounded muffled, as if the desert was wrapping cotton around everything. Then on the side of the road he saw them. Figures, pale and flickering, like VHS ghosts, moving backward along the road, thumbs out, hitchhiking. In reverse. Their heads turned slowly, too slowly, following his truck. He didn't stop. Hank's hands were trembling as he gripped the mic again. "This is Blue Ranger to dispatch. I need confirmation on location. I'm at mile marker 66. Again, multiple times. There's something wrong with the road. Over." Nothing. Then his own voice replied, "This is Blue Ranger. We copy. You shouldn't have turned around." It was unmistakably his voice, but warped. It dragged in places like a broken tape. The sentence looped twice before cutting to harsh static. He switched frequencies, all dead. A high-pitched whine filled the cabin. Hank covered his ears. Old Bessie's interior lights flickered violently. The radio dial spun on its own, jumping frequencies. A burst of deep laughter, not human, crackled through the speakers. Hank yanked the power cord out. Silence, but then, a tap on the passenger side window. He whipped his head around. Nothing, just dust and shadows. But the glass was fogged, and on it, a handprint. From the inside, Hank hit the gas. The wheels screeched as old Bessie surged forward, swallowing the dark road ahead. But the further he went, the more the world around him unraveled. The sky had turned a charcoal gray despite the moonless night. The stars were gone. In their place, flickers, like dying bulbs in a hallway. The hitchhikers returned. 1, then 3, then a dozen. All walking backwards, their heads pivoting in impossible ways. Their eyes glowed faintly, red, then green, then black, like pinholes into another world. Hank tried not to look. He focused on the lines of the road, but they were shifting now, curling like veins. His breath fogged the inside of the cab. The temperature had dropped 20 degrees. He could see it in the frost creeping along the inside of the windshield. The radio, even unplugged, let out a low, rhythmic hum, like breathing. And then he heard it. A voice, not from the radio, but from behind his seat. "You're almost there." Up ahead, something burned through the fog, a red glow. At first, he thought it was taillights, but it pulsed, not steady, organic. As he drew closer, he realized it was the mile marker sign. But this time, it wasn't reflective paint. The numbers burned crimson, as if etched in hot iron. The sign itself vibrated with energy. The road around it cracked like dry skin. Everything beyond it was dark. Not just night, but void. Hank stopped the truck, unsure whether to cross. Suddenly, old Bessie died. Engine off, lights out, complete silence. Then, movement. Dozens of pale figures stepping from the sand, still walking backward. They formed a semicircle in front of the sign. Then one turned, faceless, skin pulled tight like old canvas. It stepped forward, and pointed at him. You remember now, don't you? Memories he didn't know he had began to flood in. An accident, years ago, a hitchhiker, a young girl, a desperate night. A decision to leave someone behind. He gripped the wheel, shaking. The face of that girl now clear in his mind, eyes pleading, blood on the pavement. He had kept driving. And the desert, it remembered. You brought this loop upon yourself, the voice said again. It came from all around now, from the figures, the air, the broken sign. The past wasn't in the rearview mirror. It was the road beneath him. The sign pulsed again. Hank stepped out of the cab. His boots crunched on gravel that no longer felt like stone. The ground shimmered. The desert groaned. And the wind whispered, "One more time." Old Bessie's engine roared back to life, on its own. Hank watched in horror as the driver's seat shifted. The steering wheel turned. But he wasn't behind it. Someone else sat in the cab. Him, or something wearing his face. It looked straight ahead, not at Hank, but it was smirking. It gripped the wheel the same way, tapped the dash twice, just like he always did. Then the truck rolled forward slowly, wheels crunching, engine humming. And Hank? He couldn't move. His legs wouldn't respond. He was rooted in the earth, watching himself drive away, or watching the road claim what it had copied. The truck vanished past the blood-red sign. Stranded, Hank began to walk. Every few steps, the sound of tires crunching gravel would echo behind him. He'd turn. Nothing. But the feeling, like he was always being followed, never left. His watch spun wildly. Time was broken here. The hitchhikers appeared again, circling in reverse. They began to hum a low, ritualistic tone. Their mouths didn't move, but the sound filled the air like static. In the distance, the truck reappeared. But something was wrong. The wheels weren't touching the ground. It hovered slightly. The glow from the sign lit it from below, making it look demonic. a new marker appeared beside it. 666. The story ends, or maybe it doesn't. Some say they hear Hank Griggs on the CB late at night. His voice bleeds through other frequencies, always the same message. This is Blue Ranger. Anyone got eyes on mile marker 66? Others claim they've seen Old Bessie in the fog. Lights dim, driver smiling, but never stopping, always moving in loops. Maybe Hank's still out there, still driving, still trying to escape the mistake that chained him to that cursed stretch of road. Or maybe it's someone else now, because when the loop chooses you, you never really leave. Story number 2. My name's Lena Ray, independent hauler. Been on the road 15 years, seen every stretch of highway this country's got to offer. My rig, a steel beast named Rosie, runs smoother than most men I've known. It started off just like any job. Dispatch sent the details. Pick up at a secured dock in Nevada. Delivery to an undisclosed location near Virginia. No questions, no stops, no opening the container. Easy money. That's what I thought. The yard was quiet, too quiet. The man who handed me the bill of lading never said a word, just stared, unblinking, as I signed. The container was matte black, sealed tight with reinforced steel clasps and some kind of military-grade lock. It hummed low, like something inside was breathing. That should have been my first clue. Night fell fast that first day. The radio started cutting out, just static, no matter the station. The air vents clicked like tapping fingernails. Then, just past midnight, I heard it. Knocking, soft, rhythmic, from inside the container. I pulled over, jumped out, flashlight trembling. There was nothing outside. No wind, no animals, just my truck idling and that cold whisper of silence. But when I got back in, I swear I heard a child's voice coming through the vents. It said my name. I cranked the heat. The cab stayed cold. Bone-chilling cold, like something was sucking all the warmth out of the air. I needed answers. I called dispatch. They hung up the second I mentioned the container. Every mile after that, something new went wrong. My GPS rerouted itself into dead zones. Rest stops I passed on the map didn't exist. My phone glitched. Images from my gallery twisted. Faces distorted. I even saw my own reflection blink when I didn't. I stopped sleeping. Coffee and fear kept me going. Then I met a man at a fuel station in Kentucky. Old-timer. Looked at my rig and went pale. "You're running black cargo," he said. "That ain't freight. That's a vessel." He warned me, told me stories about cursed loads, government cover-ups, deliveries that weren't about arrival, but containment. I didn't believe him, until I checked my side mirror. And my reflection smiled back. That night, I made the mistake of stopping to sleep. I locked every door, shut off the engine, buried myself in blankets. But I woke up freezing. The cab windows fogged from the inside. The radio turned on by itself, playing a lullaby I hadn't heard since childhood. Then, the mirror cracked. A soft laugh echoed from the vents. Childlike, but wrong. Too deep, too knowing. I tried to drive, but the truck refused. The engine wouldn't turn, so I opened the back. The seal was unbroken, but there were fingerprints on the inside of the doors. Tiny, smeared, as if something had been clawing to get out. And then I saw it, a handprint, on the back of my neck, in the mirror. That night I drove nonstop for 10 hours. Didn't blink once. I made it to the delivery site, an underground bunker in the Appalachians. Men in hazmat suits waved me in, but before they opened the container, they scanned me. The lead agent pulled me aside, said I had been compromised. "What do you mean?" I asked. He showed me footage from inside the container. Me, sitting in the dark, smiling. That couldn't be. I never opened the container. I never went in. Or so I thought. Turns out, this wasn't my first delivery. Or even my second. My memory had been wiped. Again. The cold? A side effect of containment overlap. The voice in the vents? My own, trapped in looped echoes from past runs. I was cargo, a vessel, a carrier of something that never dies, just moves. They sedated me after that. I woke up behind the wheel again. Fresh logbook, clean cab, and a new sealed container behind me. The cycle continues. If you ever pass a truck on the road with black containers, don't honk, don't wave, and whatever you do, don't follow it.